February 25th, 1206. Sorry, Edgeworth. I can't give credit. Come back when you're a little... Shut up, Phoenix. Sorry, I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later.
Wait! Detective Gumshoe! What is it?
You've got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run all around while on duty.
Okay, this has definitely happened before.
To top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
I take it Lana's having you run errands again.
Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here.
What is that?
She asked me to give you this if there was a break into Dale's trial.
Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. Did they really read this thing with a duck with a pipe in front of it? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. So there's 2 rules, but they filled out an entire book? A hardcover book?
Chief Prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message.
A message?
She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book.
Him? I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law securely slipped in the pocket. The 2 rules of evidence law. Yep, all 2 of them. Is it a picture book? Is there 1 letter on each page, perhaps?
Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the Chief Prosecutor's sentence.
That's where you're wrong, Detective.
Huh?
Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me?
Mr. Edgeworth.
The real trial today hasn't begun yet.
What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal!
You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. Yeah, I wonder where.
What?
And we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. If it's not Gant, which it is, it's the chief of detectives or whatever who came up with Blue Badger. All right, send us. Was that a 50-minute recess?
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions.
Thank you for the news, Your Honor. I love you.
Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't as easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have,
struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses?
I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and...
Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution.
A solution?
That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses.
What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing.
Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal.
Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness.
Mr. Wright, do I actually get to choose? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... Oh no, they're making me choose. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Okay, the real murderer, Gant then. Easy. I'm bringing you out, bitch. Damon Gant! The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything?
As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor?
True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. The power of my stand, Righto.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch.
Your name and occupation, sir.
Worthy, are you sure you want to do this?
Your name and occupation!
So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police.
Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony.
Oh, righto. What's with the grim face?
First, let's clear up this SL9 incident.
Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already.
That is not murder. You should know this as the chief of fucking police. There are still some things unaccounted for.
Oh? Like what?
Like the role you played in all of this.
Son, either you're very brave or very foolish.
And both, bitch.
You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Are you gonna take out a fucking laser gun and melt me? Weapons?
Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to.
What? Is that true?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify.
That is so stupid. What are you talking about? You're telling me that if you become chief of police, you can never be caught for any crime ever? You can just be like, no, I'm not going to testify. And they'll be like, well, we can't prove you did it. It's so dumb. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks.
Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if it turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony.
SL9 incident.
As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help neither. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
Yes, you did.
Is that when Drake was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious.
Oh, God.
When he was sending Neil flying, it seems Drake bumped his head.
Bumped his head? Yeah, that's definitely what happened. You didn't fucking clobber him over the back of the head with your big gorilla fist.
I see. Everything seems pretty clear cut.
Wrong! If I was Phoenix, I'd be like my hand up over my mouth doing, wrong, Your Honor, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, wrong, wrong!
Did you say something, Mr. Wright?
Nope. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. As a light incident. I mean, I think the one is like, there's no, I didn't reorganize the crime scene, and then I could bring up the evidence that was in his safe. Also, why has no one mentioned the fact that his card key was used to go in and murder Goodman? As I recall, a ceremony was held in the police department that day.
Yes, that's right. I guess you would say I'm a workaholic. Good fuck. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Drake and made him run away like that.
Was the defendant, Lana Skye, also present in the room?
I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Drake ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either.
So the two of you ran immediately after him, right?
That's right. But Drake made it to the elevator first, so Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky.
What's this about a power outage?
Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Nia was when that knife went into his heart, though.
That's not funny.
When I went into my office, I found Lana there.
Could you tell us what you saw?
It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed.
Oh shit, Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor?
Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls.
Lana and Ema.
Lana was cradling Ema in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene.
How can you know that?
Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved.
So that means you found the body near Lana's desk?
That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor.
Oh, well, then you're guilty. Because it was your suit of armor, so by the law of this game, then you're guilty. Yes.
Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing to do with this forgery.
So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable, no matter what the circumstances.
Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. Shut up. If you're going to stare at anything, stare at me and my big muscles. You're better off staring at the court record.
Worthy. Always the smooth talker.
But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow, I've got to link Gant to the incident. I mean, it's easy. Just say that he hid shit in his locker. Or in his forge, his safe. Jesus Christ. But the thing is, there's 3 things that were hidden in his safe. There's 2 things that were hidden in his safe. So, either it's one or the other, or it's neither of them. Either way, I'm going to lose a bunch of health here, but I'm going to say... Alright. I'm going to give you, Mr. Gant, the... not this. Arrest! You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that's a claim you cannot back up, you slimy son of a bitch.
Explain yourself.
Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example.
That's the blue badger you showed us earlier.
Is that really just all you can think of now? A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk.
It was found where?
You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in this illegal investigation.
Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who
Wait, what?
may even rival Worthy.
Yeah, I beat him every single time I was against him. Oh my god. He sucked. So you admit to it then, that I'm better than Edgeworth?
Who, me? What do you mean, you?
Me? Why would I have anything to do with that?
Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto?
However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation.
Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. I love punishing Dick every single day.
What? You like punishing Dick? God, that's gay! if Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. He's fired, Phoenix. He doesn't have a salary.
Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together.
Evidence of forgery. You're going down, guys. You're screwed.
Let's see. What was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Darkman was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor.
When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol.
I didn't have protocol, Your Honor. I'm a defense attorney and I shouldn't have been there.
You do understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh, indeed. I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know, it's my birthday. We were going to go to McDonald's together. All right, Uji. In return, though, I know. That place, right?
Huh? What are these guys telepathic? He's gonna suck his dick behind the McDonald's? What? Or is this something about the swimming pool? I feel like bad things have happened in that swimming pool.
For all I know, you could have planted them in my office.
I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations.
Yes, you do have a point. He wouldn't have the guts to do something like that.
What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped...
Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it later.
Later? What are you talking about?
What else? I'm talking about when Righto's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal.
I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. I don't know, the director of the Steel Samurai was very fucking slimy.
Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered.
What do you mean by that?
This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
If concealing evidence found in a crime scene isn't forgery.
I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Drake was convicted, then they're worthless.
Not true. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation?
It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Drake was sentenced. I've got the odds, I know.
Oh, wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know!
Come now, Righto! Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery.
How can you look me in the eye and say that?
Because I'm innocent.
Oh, then.
Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here.
Thank you, Your Honor! Oh my fucking god! Finally someone knows something about law. It wasn't murder! Why is everyone saying it was? I'm glad the judge finally pulled his head out of his ass.
But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
You know the thing, you know what happened here? Oh. Okay, well this is taking way too long to even... I should have just said it out loud. I just can't even find the jar. Gant? Gant did this. Gant did this bit. He's got it. It's gotta be. Let's check this again. Let's check this again. Okay, if we ignore... Oh, it doesn't show the shot. With the shot. With the shot. Okay, just ignore the lines. That's a T. And that could have been an N. Right? That could have been a T. That could have been an N. And that could have been a G. Because this chunk here, well, it's different on this, but this chunk here is was found in his locker. It's completely different.
Wouldn't help me out in any way.
Did I do this one? Gant isn't the one who murdered Prosecutor Marshall 2 years ago. Yet I know he played a part in the forgery. That can only mean someone asked him to be an accomplice. Damon Gant, someone's accomplice? That sounds unlikely. Did I just think that? Get out of my head. Edgeworth, when are you going to join my team and come behind the desk with me? Like you can go from being the head detective to the fucking head prosecutor, so you can join my side if you want. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there's one large benefit you've reaped from all this.
Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit?
That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police.
Oh?
The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive.
Oh, ho, ho! Oh, that's a good one.
Huh?
Do you really think I'm that incompetent?
Yes. What do you mean?
Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. That resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little.
Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Gah!
Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at.
So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. He's pointing at him. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else.
Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and Jesus Christ. There, it's out in the open now. Gee, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do.
He's just going to say he's a psychopath.
I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me.
Well, nothing in it for you?
Sorry. Well, the only person I care about is yours truly.
You are a psychopath.
That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again.
You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone.
Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised.
Were you raised in the depths of hell? You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though.
Ho ho ho! Oh, that's a good one, Worthy.
Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone.
Mr. Wright?
It appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean!
Case closed! Very well then.
Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Bada bing, bada boom, baby. That's the only one I can think of.
Righto, my boy. Look on your face, it was wrong. It's almost enough to motivate even me to help you out. Hope you understand that that's not a compliment.
Chief Gant would have wanted something in return. I'm saving. I'm saving so I don't perish. I really thought he'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna make Goodman be the best detective ever, and everyone's gonna love him, and then I'm gonna kill him in a few years when he threatens to talk. He must have wanted to be able to blackmail the person he helped. Okay, so it's Lana then.
It appears that offense has nothing more to say. Chief, would you please repeat your testimony from the beginning?
Oh, come on, man. I have to go through all this shit? There's no reason I participate in forgery. I want blah. Now I hold right. Click. Skippity, 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 boo.
Ho, ho, ho.
I mean, I thought Lana was too obvious for it to be Lana. I wanted to be smart by picking the unexpected option. But no, apparently it's just Lana. Lana.
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant?
I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Miss Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit.
Self-profit? What do you mean?
After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant.
But how would he profit from all of this?
He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire an unchecked authority over all investigations.
Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets?
Your Honor! What is wrong with you?
Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind.
Admit it, Chief! I almost said chef. I thought that said chef. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive? To appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her.
Right-o, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something.
What?
Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing?
Hopefully! Lana, she's keeping quiet to protect Ema. There's no way she'd testify against Gant.
I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than a mere conjecture.
Unless that is also what happened in this incident.
This incident? Which one would that be?
Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. God, you look fucking very sweaty there.
Worthy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean?
What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the chef is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement.
What?
I said order! Everyone stop talking by this point, Your Honor. You're just screaming for no reason.
Mr. Wright, you can't be serious!
Huh?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible!
Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's completely his fault, Your Honor, not mine, I swear. It's too late, Mr. Wright. You're a pussy, Phoenix. Just fucking accept it. Be like, yes, I am blaming Gant of murder because that's what he did. There's no turning back for us now. We're getting married and that's it. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this.
Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder?
Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell.
I see. All right then, let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman.
Is it this? Does it have his name on it now? I mean, I could use that. That's all I can think of, really. This is weird, though. This never came up. Brought back to his office by Gant's request. Maybe he wants Edgeworth to keep tight lips because he's going to tighten them with a screwdriver. Like, this is This has to come up, right? It can't just be like a weird red herring. It's gotta be I mean, it's gotta be the fucking record of going through the door. I still can't believe how wide Eva's hand is. Like, oh my god. Explain the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Did he do anything like that? Look at this book! It's got a cute duck on it, Your Honor!
That is a chick, Phoenix.
God, I'm so stupid! Okay, show him this. Try.
This is the ID card list.
Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine on the... Oh god, on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 777777. 7.
Sorry, but there's no way you could prove that's my card number.
It's your number.
What? How do you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code.
7 digits? You don't mean...
I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. I don't know why I have to say that every time, Your Honor. I could just say that number. The same as that remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Oh, Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations.
And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. With my cock. What? But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card.
Chief Gant, so you admit it?
Just say that you were going in to get stoned at 420.
You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want.
Tell me. That was a very Western Edgeworth, I'm sorry. When you entered the room, were you alone?
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room.
Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he?
Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days.
You hadn't seen him in days? Chef Garrett, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt.
Actually, it's to determine her innocence. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting?
In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime.
It's the same one, Your Honor. The fact that he was killed after 4. He was killed in that room. There was a bloody handprint. Can only be submitted to the Chief of Police. This might be it. It's not fully written, though, is the thing. If it was fully written, this would be conclusive evidence. Frick it, dude. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police.
Yet you're in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't because it's not filled out. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
He needed to?
Yes, to transfer the evidence out.
Oh.
Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room.
I accompanied him.
There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room.
Hold on. Let me guess what you're gonna say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman.
You, the chief of police... How did he know? Exactly.
But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could still have just lent him his ID card. Yes, now that you mention it.
Edgeworth, I was reading that! Sorry, but that's not possible. I don't know what he was saying. He just objected. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found in his body. In his body?
No!
Oh my god, that spray, holy shit, that was cool.
Chief Gant, you didn't.
The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder, or as a place to tase anyone. After the murder, you contacted Lon at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that we don't have a fucking motive? That the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. I guess he was going to get to the bottom of the old case. How did he manage to move it there?
I was at the police department the entire day, you know.
And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal.
Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time, I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space.
How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Something that didn't come up yet.
Screwdriver?
the jar? You put him in the jar and moved him over? Brought back to his office by Gant's request. So Edgeworth told him to bring it back, or he told Edgeworth to bring it back, so Edgeworth brought it back himself. Oh, wrong button, sorry. Oopsies. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. He unscrewed the fabric of the universe and shoved him through a wormhole.
What's that? A screwdriver? What does that have to do with this case?
Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car!
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car!
We know this already. Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye!
Order in the court! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed into the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. Is this Edgeworth interrupting me, or was he talking before? Oh god. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Gant, Please say something. I believe your time is up. My time's up?
Do you have a bomb inside his head?
Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special.
But the cross-examination isn't finished yet!
Remember what I told you earlier? The police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? This is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all this?
Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now.
Well,
You think I had law to dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gaunt is the current chief of police.
This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Your Honor, please!
Well, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor?
Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body?
Do I have any concrete proof? No? No? I mean, there's the handprint that was left by a hand with a glove, and we know he wears gloves. Look, I don't know why I need proof. It's so overwhelmingly obvious. Is it gonna be this? I'm saving. I mean, I don't think I have any, but I'm gonna try it. I can't let him just squirm his way out of this. I've got to keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor. I do have such evidence.
Then please hurry up and present it. Just remember, it better prove Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Well, about that, Your Honor, you see, I was actually just going to show you this book that Lana gave me earlier today. It's pretty cool, right? I clicked on my badge next. I don't think I can prove it. Yeah, I don't think I can prove this. I mean, reasonably, it has already been proved. And he's just trying to run away, obviously. I don't know why there's even a question here. Evidence for something, but what? Bears with Sky's points. Explains the two rules of evidence law. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. See, like, this rule contradicts this rule. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. But if you do show something without the approval of the police department, it has to be relevant. It's like, okay, cross this out. Just don't show it unless it's irrelevant to the trial. There you go. Look, this Lana in particular told me that I need this to kill him. So I mean, click back. This is a tough one. I don't think I have any evidence. I think I just have to wait and let Ema save me. But I'm going to try to use the book. Give it a shot. Where is it? Oh, wrong button again. Gosh darn it. Present. Please work.
So, what exactly is this evidence?
It's proof. It's whether or not it's enough to demonstrate the chief's guilt. I'll let you be the judge.
But I am the judge.
Oh, right. Oh well, what do you think, Your Honor?
Fuck off, Mr. Wright. I'm going to be late for lunch.
I guess it wasn't enough. Please, Your Honor! Give me just a little longer to consider.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor. Okay, this is the same thing again. Look, I don't have proof. I don't have proof. I'm not going to lie and say I have proof. I don't have proof. Like, everything I presented so far has been proof, but I don't have any more proof. I don't have one thing that, like, sums it up. I have a collection of things that shows that he did it, obviously. But... This is just bananas, man. Take my angel star after the crime was committed. IDs of all who entered the room. That is the proof. Like, this one here is the proof. Like, we know. You're dead. You're dead. We know you went in there, and we know blah 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 went in there at the same time as you. So I don't know what the problem is, man. I don't know what the problem is. Stab in the back. Nope, wrong one. Other autopsy report, please. This one. Death due to loss of blood, one knife wound, died within an hour and a half before PM. This is useless. This is not. I'm just gonna say I don't and see what happens. There's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence.
See, OG. In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief.
What? I was already saying what before I even read the word what, so that was Phoenix's what and my what at the same time.
Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Wright-o. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today.
You are pretty lucky to have the thing 777. I mean, I guess you probably got it yourself.
Okay, OG. I'll leave the rest to you.
What? Is it just over?
I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency.
What? Thank you, Edward. Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. Lady who knows the truth? Another witness! In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gat has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Ask Phoenix. Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today. Fuck you, Edgeworth. I mean, I know who it is, but fuck you.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth... Oh, where is she? Okay.
The defendant? Miss Lana Skye?
She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with someone's orders!
Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in
Who is this? Meekins?
Hold on!
Huh?
What? Chief Gat, I thought you were going to eat! Listen good, Lana.
He's talking to Lana.
I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences.
He made a threat in front of everyone. Why does no one care? This is obviously a threat! Like, what is going on? This is Kangaroo Court.
That's right. Your sister will be found guilty.
No, she won't.
For Neil Marshall's murder.
No, she won't. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong and you're stupid. Like, what in the ever-living fuck are you talking about, Gant? How are you the chief of police? How? Like, what god of reason died and fell from the heavens to fucking make you somehow rise to the top? This makes no sense! This isn't good. No, it's completely fine. He's full of shit.
Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet.
Bye-bye.
Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess.
Yeah, let's just gloss over the fact that Gant threatened her in front of everyone. Amazing. Amazing. No one cares. No one cares. It's fine. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Why, is it, Ernie? Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth.
That chief. He's something else, eh, pals?
Detective Gumshoe!
I'm not a detective anymore.
Just Gumshoe. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office!
Oh, no. I can't afford to pay myself. How am I supposed to pay you? My office?
Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with.
Could he mean Maya? No, he probably means Zima. I mean, he probably thinks they're the same people, to be honest.
Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand?
It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said?
But Chief, that's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
Like? Does he get executed? Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. Oh my god. Ina? You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Ema! Are you okay? Yeah, and when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery, so she heard everything that's been going on. Ema, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? I always wanted to commit murder! Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man! She did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. That's not what this word means. Why are you all so in the dark?
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. Remember now, I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see.
Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act.
Ema, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. Thank God. I fucking need you to help me. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. Maybe afterwards we can get some ice cream? I'm just kidding. Unless Edgeworth, fuck off. Oh. Alright, well, we'll end another episode here. I don't know. Is this last bit really going to take an hour? Because they're giving me a to be continued now. Which is very strange. I mean, look, here's the thing. It is 11:15 here. But. Okay, no, you know what? I'm going to save this for after I stop recording. Oh, hello, guys. I didn't notice you there watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. I think the next episode is probably going to be the last one, and then we'll move on to something else. Can you guess what it is? I bet you can't guess what it is. But I'll give you one hint. It's not what I said it was like 3 times. All right, bud.